Hi everyone, welcome to Getting Crafty with Carrie. Today I am going to teach you how to make a flower from fabric. And then once we have that made, I'm going to show you how you can easily add it to an alligator clip and turn it into a really cute hair bow for a little one. So the things that you're going to need to make this craft is you're going to need to have 5 to 6 circles of fabric, and I've pre-cut them for the sake of time. You're going to need some thread, a needle, hot glue, a button, a small circle of felt. You're going to need an alligator clip as well as a strip of grosgrain ribbon and some scissors. So to be able to do this, it's really very simple. You're going to start off by threading your needle. So you'll want to cut off a strip of ribbon, or of thread. And you're going to start off by threading your needle. And I like to just kind of loop it around and make a knot at the end, because then the thread is a little bit thicker. I've used a thread here that's a little bit thicker than normal sewing thread, just so that it's a little bit more sturdy. Okay, so you're going to start off one at a time. You're going to take your fabric circle, you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to fold it in half again so that you have a shape that looks like this. You're going to take your needle and thread, and you're basically just going to kind of pull it through, and you're going to go across the bottom of the curved edge, and you're just going to kind of weave in and out of it. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, maybe 3 times, 4 times, okay? And you're going to weave it in and out. Hopefully you can see the thread, and then when you pull it tight, it makes a cute little, what we're going to have as a petal. Okay, so once you've pulled that tight, you can turn around and go back through the bottom and then just make a knot. Okay, then without even taking the thread off, I'm going to do that for the other ones. So let's go ahead and do that again. We're folding the circle in half, fold it in half again, so you have this little kind of curved triangle. And we're going to take our needle and we're going to go up and through the bottom, and we're going to kind of crisscross through the bottom 3 to 4 times. I'm just doing it 3 times, which is more than enough. You may need a little bit more if, for instance, you're using a larger circle. The larger the circle, the larger your petals are going to be. So I'm going to bring it tight, and now you can see I have 2 petals. Okay, so again, I'm going to go through, kind of firm it up by looping it through one more time. Okay, so now I have 2 cute little petals. Okay, we're going to do it again. Fold it in half, fold it in half again, and then we're going to come through, and I'm going to go through about 3 times on this, weaving in and out of the bottom of the fabric, and then I'm going to pull it tight. So now you can see I have 3. I'm going to loop it through just to get it sturdy. Okay, so now I have 3 petals. Okay, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do this with 6 circles for my flower. So fold it in half. I'm going to weave in and out of the bottom, and we're doing this on the curved edge. Okay, and then I'm kind of bringing it tight. I think I want to come through one more time on this one, and then you can see that we've got 4 petals now. Okay, Come through and secure it at the bottom. And I'm going to move to the next one. Half and half. Come through. We're going to crisscross with your thread and needle across the curved bottom. Bring it together. You can see how it's starting to kind of come along. Okay. Now 2 more to go. Or excuse me, wait, 1, 2, 3. I got 1 more to go. Okay, folding it in half. And then once we get this last petal, I'm going to connect all of them together. So I've got this last petal here. And on this last one, I'm going to come through with my thread. I'm going to bring this and make this tight. I'm going to come through with my thread and connect it to the other like this. Okay? So I'll take my thread and come through that first petal and tighten it up. So now you can see we've got this fabric flower. Okay? So once you kind of get all of those together, we'll come through a few times and tighten up the fabric and the string, and we're going to make sure that we get it nice and knotted so that it's all together. And then once you've finished this step, we're going to take this little felt circle that I've pre-cut, and I'm going to kind of glue it to the back just to kind of secure it and make it solid on the back of, where did my little fabric circle go? I had a felt circle and now I don't know where it went. I showed it to you. Okay, let me get another piece of felt because I've misplaced it. That's okay. It disappeared on me, but I'm just going to cut a new one. So it doesn't need to be very big because we don't have a really big flower. I like to fold my felt in half and then just kind of cut a little half circle, and then when I open it, I've got a circle. In fact, I want it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to trim it down. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. This is just basically kind of stabilizing it. Okay, so I've got my felt circle, and I'm going to go to the back of the flower, and I'm going to just glue it down onto the back with some hot glue. So I'm going to squeeze my hot glue onto the back of it, and I'm just going to press my little piece of felt down just to kind of stabilize it and keep the shape that I want. And it should be mostly shaped because of how we've sewn it together. Okay, so it's not very pretty on the back. You can always trim it a little bit more once you kind of have the hot glue in its spot so that it doesn't kind of show. I'm using a brown felt for the sake of you being able to see, but you could use like a colored felt to match the fabric that you're using. So once that's done, you can see that the front of the flower is still kind of ugly in the middle. So to decorate the middle, I'm going to take a button and put it right in the middle. Now, if you were using something like maybe a little decorative like brad, you could put that in here and poke it through the middle. You could use maybe a little piece of wood. Sometimes you can buy these little painted pieces of woods, or basically any other kind of like embellishment you'd like. But because this is an actual button, I can either glue it or sew it. But because I want it to be nice and sturdy, I'm actually going to sew my button on. If you have a button that has the holes and the button is relatively flat, you'll want to sew it on. But let's say you have a button that has maybe one of the loops that come out the back. You can either sew it, or you can also just hot glue all around that little sticker part and then just poke it down into the middle. Okay? But for today, I'm going to go ahead and sew it. So I'm going to get another piece of thread and thread my ribbon again. And then I'm going to sew this ribbon on. Or excuse me, sew this button on. So these are not hard to make, they're pretty quick. It's a great little craft for being able to use up like fabric scraps that you might have, because it doesn't take up very much fabric at all. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my ribbon, or excuse me, sew my button on. So I'm going to come through the back, which is not liking. I come through the back with my needle and thread, and I'm going to sew my button into place. If you really want to secure it even better, you can always put a little dab of hot glue underneath your button as well. But I'm just going to sew mine on. Sometimes if it's hard to push stuff through, I like to poke through the bottom. Okay. I'm going to come up again. And once you have your button as tight as you'd like it, you can knot it off on the back. Okay, so now you have your cute little fabric flower. I'm going to put a little knot in the back so that my ribbon stays, or my thread is nice and secure, holding that button into place. And I'm going to trim it off. So as you can see, we now have a really cute fabric flower. Now you can use these for various crafts. Today I'm going to show you how to make a barrette out of it. But you could use these in a scrapbook, you can put them on a card, you could use it on a banner, perhaps you want to sew it onto a pillow or a blanket, but it's a really cute embellishment, and again, it's a really great way to use up your extra little scraps of fabric. So for the barrette, these can sometimes like rip people's hair. It's an alligator clip. They call it an alligator clip because when you squeeze it, it kind of looks like an alligator mouth. And what you want to do is you want to take and look at it. There is a curved edge that goes up, and then there's a flat side. The flat side is the part that's going to go into your hair. So what you want to do is you're going to open up your little alligator clip, and you're going to set your ribbon just kind of in between. Okay? And then you're going to take your hot glue and you're going to kind of come across the back of the barrette, and you're just going to pull over your ribbon to basically just cover that clip up. Okay? Then you'll do the same thing all the way around. You're going to take some hot glue and put into the center of where the little clip is, loop it around the back, and then I like to take like my scissors or something and just kind of press into that open area like this to kind of secure it where the hot glue is. Okay? So now you can see we've kind of got it stuck in between the alligator clip. Same thing, you're going to come across the top with your hot glue, bring your ribbon up and around, and just continue it down so that now you have your alligator clip is looking like this. Okay, and then the last step is you'll want to open it up and then I'm going to measure first and just kind of clip off my excess so that I don't have too much ribbon sticking out. Try and clip off a little bit. And for this step, just because it's easier, I like to put the hot glue actually on the ribbon and bring the ribbon around. Otherwise you can really burn yourself. Flip it around, come inside there, and I'm going to hot glue inside of this again because and then I'm going to take the inside of this now and do the same thing so that now I have basically ribbon covering all of the alligator clip. Okay, so you see how that looks now? All right, then with the scooped side up, this is where you're going to place your flower. So I'm going to basically just hot glue it to the barrette. Okay, So you can take a bunch of hot glue and just squeeze it all over the top of the clip. I'm going to press it down and I'm going to hold it there until I feel like it's gotten nice and cool. You can see I'm just kind of holding it on there. And then once it's all done, you have a really cute hair clip. So what do you think? Really easy craft, cute way to make flowers from your extra scrap fabric. I hope that you've been able to learn something that's easy to do. I hope that you'll join me again. I put out a video every week on YouTube of various DIY tutorials and things that you can do in your craft room. I also have a Facebook page. It's called Carrie's Creations, and on that page I host a live craft where we craft together on the first Thursday of every month. I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can find me there as well. And I appreciate you being with me today to learn this simple flower made from fabric. It was great to see you. Thanks again. Thanks for getting crafty with Carrie.